If you're a horror fan, you'll want to check out these 12 movies that Stephen King himself recommends. Known for his mastery of the genre, King's picks are sure to give you chills. From supernatural frights to psychological terrors, these films have been selected for their ability to truly scare. If you're looking for the best of the best in horror, these are the must-sees according to the expert. The Hitcher. When it comes to The Hitcher, King has called himself a fan of both the original and the nearly forgotten remake. As King said, Rutger Hauer in the original will never be topped, but this is that rarity, a reimagining that actually works. The 1986 iteration stars Hauer as the titular character, who sees him stalking a young motorist delivering a car.
When Jim Halsey let the Hitcher into his car, he opened the doors of hell.
The Mist. The Mist is perhaps one of King's darkest on-screen adaptations. Like many of King's stories, this one is set in a small town in Maine. It begins with the townspeople recovering from the damage from a storm that wreaked havoc on their town, but soon discovering something terrifying in the mist that follows. Referring to the movie, King said, "The ending will tear your heart out, but so will life in the end."
I hear something.
Are those bugs?
Not like any I've ever seen. The entire front of this store is plate glass.
The Strangers. Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman play Kristen and James, a couple who are on the outs after a failed marriage proposal. They drive back to their home in unsettling silence, not knowing the terror they will soon face together. After getting settled in for the night, a knock at the door from a mysterious woman changes, well, just about everything. King says it best. It starts slowly and builds from unease to terror to horror.
There's someone out there.
Hello?
The Blair Witch Project. This found-footage fictional documentary is likely responsible for its share of phobias, nightmares, and of course, viral marketing. As Stephen King said, "One thing about Blair Witch, the damn thing feels real." And because it does, it's like the worst nightmare you ever had. The one you woke from gasping and crying with relief because you thought you were buried alive, and it turned out the cat jumped up on your bed and went to sleep on your chest.
And it's all because of me that we're here now. Hungry, cold, and hunted. Just want to apologize to Mike's mom, and Josh's mom, and my mom.
The Autopsy of Jane Doe. According to King, The Autopsy of Jane Doe is a visceral horror to rival Alien and early Cronenberg. Watch it, but not alone. In the film, coroner Tommy Tilden, Brian Cox, and his son, Austin, Emil Hirsch, conduct what they believe to be a routine autopsy on a Jane Doe brought in by the local authorities. However, the further they go into the autopsy, the stranger it becomes.
What happened to you?
First, they bound her. Then they ripped out her tongue, poisoned her, paralyzed her, forced her to swallow the cloth. What is that?
Deep Blue Sea. Dr. Susan McAllister believes she has found a possible cure for Alzheimer's disease by harvesting the brain tissue of genetically altered sharks. When those looking to invest in the research come to visit the facility, a simple procedure goes amok and all hell breaks loose. Of the film, King said that the movie made him scream out loud, and that he treasures any horror movie that can make him do that.
Tell me I didn't see that. They recognize that gun.
It's impossible. Sharks do not swim backwards. They can't.
They'll have to find a way to save their own.
Crimson Peak. Guillermo del Toro directed and co-wrote the gothic horror, which King called gorgeous and just terrifying. In it, Edith marries a charming stranger, and is brought to stay at his family's mansion. Already having a connection with the dead, Edith begins to pick up on something disturbing emanating from the house itself. As things get progressively more frightening, Edith begins to wonder more and more about her new husband.
Thomas, your bride is frozen.
I run you a hot bath.
The Changeling. John Russell leaves his home in New York City after his wife and daughter are killed. After settling into his new home near Seattle, he begins to experience the presence of the ghost of a boy who drowned in the bathtub there. When asked about his favorite films by the British Film Institute, King described his love for the Changeling. "There are no monsters bursting from chests," he wrote. "Just a child's ball bouncing down a flight of stairs was enough to scare the daylights out of me."
It's a hand.
Final Destination. Ever the critic, King expressed his love for the original Final Destination by saying, "I love all these movies. With their elaborate Rube Goldberg setups, it's like watching R-rated splatter versions of those old Roadrunner cartoons. But only the first is genuinely scary, with its grim insistence that you can't beat the Reaper. When your time is up, it's up."
In death, there are no accidents. No coincidences. And no escapes.
The Witch, written and directed by Robert Eggers, is set in 1500s New England. It has heavy religious undertones and uses dialogue in early modern English. Of Eggers' film, King said, "The Witch scared the hell out of me, and it's a real movie, tense and thought-provoking as well as visceral." The film follows a family that decides to live alone near the woods after being exiled from their community.
There you are. Boom!
Les Diaboliques. This diabolical psychological horror film follows two women who plot against their shared love interest, a vastly disliked schoolhead. The wife and the mistress decide to pair up to get even, with shocking results. For King, this film is his second favorite of all time. Clouzot's Les Diaboliques, his suspense horror masterpiece, is as terrifying now as it was back in 1955. He out-Hitchcocked Hitchcock.
Oh, j'ai la tête qui éclate, moi. Je vis une histoire de fou.
Ce n'est pas une histoire de fou, c'est une histoire diabolique.
Qui est là?
Qui est là? Répondez, nom de Dieu!
The Last House on the Left remake was written by Wes Craven and directed by Dennis Iliadis. King reserved some high praise for the film. The Iliadis version is to the original what a mature artist's painting is to the drawing of a child who shows some gleams of talent. I maintain that if Last House hadn't come trailing the baggage of its infamous predecessor, it would have been a critical success on the level of Diabolique.
Evening.
You knew not to bring anybody back here.
We made the front page. That's what's going on.
This is none of our business.
I'm sorry, ladies.
Oh my God!
We just can't risk it.
Oh no.